Well, hello and good evening. Here with Mr. Scully Hunt, Premier Mass Man from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and so many other labels and titles that come with this gentleman in front of us. We're just here to have a conversation with him because he is quite a talented person. He's into music. He's been a teacher. He is into arts and crafts. He is a therapist, a social worker, and I can keep going and going and going. So we just want to kind of pick your brains and get to know the man behind all of this talent, if you will. So, do you mind if I call you Scully?
No,
Okay.
no.
So Scully, we just want to pick your brains a little bit because we're saying that with Carnival there is a lot that has kind of deteriorated with Carnival. And in culture as a whole, and everything in this life, I feel, hinges on culture. Everything. Language, our music, the foods we eat, the way we dance, the way we talk, everything hinges on culture. So I think people sometimes we kind of neglect our cultural wares, if you will. And then things just kind of different things in society kind of deteriorate because we allow culture to kind of, just go kind of willy-nilly. So tell us a little bit about your background. That's me just giving a synopsis to the audience, but tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, the man behind all of this cultural stuff and all of this, artistic talent.
Yeah, well, excuse me, sorry. Thank you for, asking the question, and I'm happy to respond to your question. Personally, my cultural experience began quite a long time ago. When I was a young man, the first thing that happened to me, I had an uncle who was a tailor, and he was working with a band called Zambezi. And I went to look for him one time, and he was sewing these costumes, and they had like some big tall shields that they wanted painted. So I said, let me try it and do it for you. And I painted one, and he allowed me to paint all of them. At that time I was about 16 years of age. And that began my interest in doing stuff, using my hands to do things and stuff like that. Subsequent to that, I worked with Winston Samuel, and I began bending wire, doing a whole set of stuff, designing things, building hats, doing papier-mâché, and doing the whole rank of what it takes to build a costume. And this was in the early 1960s. Okay, and I graduated. I started doing my own band and stuff like that later on, and becoming a winner of many titles and stuff like over the years.
So you would design costumes that look similar to those that would be on Eastern Parkway.
Yeah,
let's say. Because I'm saying that because you're from St. Vincent and the Grenadines originally, but you have continued that here.
In New York, I did it in the 70s. We did something called Kabuki Theatre, and I worked along with a Vincentian group, Paddy Correa, Wesley Millington, and some of these guys doing some other themes in New York. Yeah.
Okay. So now you went on to have many other careers, and you were telling me that you earlier as a therapist, which is also one of your professions, that you actually used to use your artistic skills to help youngsters, or to help people that were coping with other sort of behavioral problems.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so I work with, first of all, the first job I had in New York, let me just backtrack a little bit. I spent a few years in New York, I didn't like it, and I went back home. When I went back home, I began working with UNICEF. Okay? UNICEF is the United Nations Children Educational Fund, and I work with approximately about 50 women that were making straw craft items, and we were in a poverty alleviation program which had an impact of about 200 children. What that included was training in terms of design, certain types of utilitarian products made out of straw, wood and other materials to help the women to make a livelihood so that they can feed their families. Okay, that was not a bad program. It lasted for 5 years, where I was the project coordinator for that program. So I would travel from Fichus down the Leeward side, way up to Sandy Bay on the windward side, working with all these indigenous peoples, trying to get them to make things with their hands and stuff like that. Along with that, we try to look for markets for them in the Grenadines, in the regional areas, so that they can, have a sustainable kind of an income to help them raise their families and build houses and stuff like that.
Okay. So you've used your artistic ability to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, that is the one part in St. Vincent. In New York, when I first came here, I was working with a place called Crown High Service Agency, but it's an after-school program where I had to do things like games and teach children art and stuff. They were between the ages of 12 and 17. Then from there, I went to work with Kings County Hospital. Kings County Hospital, I was an activity therapist. And I got there because I had a degree in behavioral health, because they wanted that kind of a background to work with them. And so with these young men, you know, a lot of adolescent boys predominantly. And we work in the area of self-esteem, self-worth, poor anger control, and stuff like that. And what I did do was to involve them in building stuff with their hands. Papier-mâché stuff predominantly, and then I was using plaster Paris stuff, material like that. And they'll make masks and paint their features, and they'll paint themselves with a particular expression to tell me how they were feeling. Okay? Now when they paint that and they told me how they were feeling, then I would try to help them and say, well, why are you feeling this way? Could you put a different face that would make you feel better? And so it challenged them to think out of the box to see if they could come up with an expression on the mass to make them feel good.
Okay.
You know, so that was not bad.
You were mentioning that you did some travels into other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Where have your travels taken you?
Well, early on, I used to go around the Caribbean islands. You know, we were trying to establish a regional way house, and that predominantly was planned to be in Barbados, where there will be a central location, bringing all the crafts from all the various regional islands like Grenada, St. Lucia, and the Grenadines, and St. Vincent, to have a way house where people who have stores and shops wanted to get items, rather than having to travel to all the separate islands. They'll come in one location and get a sample from all the islands in the surrounding area. Apart from that, I went to Finland, where I was awarded a program activity to do design, industrial design, you know, and I spent a number of years, a few months in Finland, Helsinki University, where we were dealing with design concepts and stuff like that as it related to industry and craft specifically. Yeah.
You think you've actually done quite a bit of extensive travels in your craft with your
Of course,
craft.
I went to Jamaica, I went to Cass, I went to Edney Maddeney School of Art on brief training sessions, you know. Another guy went there with me as well. In Finland, it's just two people from the Caribbean were selected by UNICEF to go to that, a Trinidadian guy and myself. And you know, I don't, you know. And then I worked with an international labor organization expert who came to St. Vincent, spent 5 years, and I understudied him. And another one came from Canada in industrial design, and I understudied that guy as well. So, you know, that is my exposure. When it comes to that.
You mentioned a lot of these different careers. Where's your heart at the most?
My passion?
What's your passion?
That's a, you know, a tricky question. You know, my passion is still with art. And of course, I just mentioned too that I am a pastor by profession and by experience. I passed
And you were
it
a
for a number
pastor
of
too.
years.
Wow.
I passed it for a number of years, and but right now, you know, my passion is to deal with conscious levels of who we are. I think there's a problem knowing who we are, and therefore the unification problem sometimes is very definite, because we don't seem to be able to unify among ourselves. You know, like they have a number of organizations trying to get together and stuff like that, and they're trying to do things together, but still there's always this
infighting.
Little, I won't put it so graphic, there's always this discomfort when we cannot, you know, see eye to eye, we cannot come together. And it happens not just in the context of groups, it happens in the context of individuals. And I find that is so, you know, negative. You know, and I wish there could be some element of togetherness that we can forge forward, and just, you know, agree to disagree sometimes, but move towards a goal to get it accomplished. That I find is something I love to see happen. And I'm trying to, you know, pick my brain and pick yours to see how that could happen.
Well, Carnival, for instance, in St. Vincent, I would say St. Vincent because this is where I'm from and I have a little bit more inside information. What do you think is the state of Carnival in St. Vincent? Are you happy with it, or you think there could be improvements there?
Well, I won't criticize it, first of all. I would say this. It has gotten to a stage right now that it's mimicking other islands. In other words, you see this here, you see it there. You see it over here, you see it there. So there's no sense of
uniqueness,
no identity, and what I find that it's colorful, but I also find that it's a big party, predominantly a big party. People dress up in a costume and have a good time, which is not bad, and especially people coming from America and stuff like that. Sometimes they want to get away from what's happening out there, the cold and stuff like that, and enjoy because they've worked hard and definitely. So that has its place, but at the same time, I think that the forum could be used as a tool to do certain things, even, yes, to build skills and get people to be creative and stuff like that. But the forum could be used to give a message. Okay, so the theme that the individual groups would present could be a message as well. I remember years ago I did a band called In the Hands of the People. Okay, what I used was a lot of indigenous stuff in St. Vincent. Straw, grass, all kinds of stuff to make my costumes. And to depict what is being made in St. Vincent, so in the hands of the people, was in what the people made with their hands in St. Vincent. And I depicted it. And the products were actually some of the products that were produced in St. Vincent for tourists. So I'm thinking that, maybe people can start thinking, of their theme when they're presenting, bands and stuff like that. But it's just fun. But I haven't seen Carnival, in a long time. And even I was in St. Vincent last year. I didn't go out. I didn't go there because, but design, I love design. See, so
you think now that you're retired, because you've retired back to St. Vincent, you travel here, you still have connections here in the United States, but you travel back to St. Vincent. Do you think you'll get involved in some of the creative things that's going on there and try to help to, develop some of that stuff there? And leave us with some of your talent?
Okay. Well, I don't know how to answer this now. But let me see if I can say something. You use the word culture earlier on. Culture is a very broad term. Culture is a way of life. And I feel there are some aspects of culture that could be highlighted, can be worked, could be developed. Carnival has its place. Carnival could be the highlight of culture. But I still feel there are a lot of areas that needs looking at, like dance, drumming, the different little things that they're having from village to village to village to village to village. Those areas need to be pinpointed and developed. I think they're somehow neglected. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope that I am. But they can be developed. 9 mornings is a wonderful season. Now, I don't specifically believe that Christ was born on the 25th of December. But it's a tradition. And the people love it and they enjoy it. It's a time when people feel, happy and very, festive. So that's fine. But so you can do a lot with that. And I think they have done a lot of that. And, I haven't seen much of it. But I think the whole package of culture needs to be looked at in the context of tourism, as a product. And you have to know what resources you have, what natural resources you have. No, you don't have a lot of beaches. So you have to find something else. And it should be a networking of a lot of agencies, the hotel, the mass men, the musicians, get everybody involved. Years ago we used to have a lot of bands, you'd have like 5-6 bands in St. Vincent, music bands, playing, well dressed and stuff like that. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong and I hope that I am, that there's a lot of that in St. Vincent. More so now people doing DJ music, going on a truck and stuff like that. The steel band arena again, you have to look at that. How can we work with that?
Revive it more.
Well, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, but the whole question of management and organization in terms of giving the people an outlet to perform, rather than just waiting just for carnival time alone. It's something else. But you can have little small groups doing little things here and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that's being done, but this, from my distant point of view, is what I see, and maybe I am wrong. I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna.
So now you're back in St. Vincent. Maybe you can explore that and look into that and see what ways you can contribute to that.
Well, that's a very good suggestion.
Because we have a very rich culture, but sometimes when you, like you say, you need to do it in a way that would not just be a seasonal thing. but would be something that could be used in a broader sense and actually could become a way of life for people.
Well, the other thing, there's a group we used to refer to as the string band. Things like maypole, string band. You only see those string band people around Christmas time sometimes and Carnival time. I don't know if it has changed from the last time I saw it. That is something that we can try to get involved. You know, people with the banjo, you don't see people playing banjos. That's wrong string instrument. It has a unique sound. There's another guy that plays a series of pans, small pans, different sizes, and they have different sounds. They could give you the scale. You understand me? Even those things that you don't see them being perpetuated in the schools and places like that. So I am saying that, and there's a lot of, you know, things that can be done, but you just have to kind of get in there and research and think and have a sense of community and bring about some awareness as the possibilities that could exist. And the whole question of the drug situation in St. Vincent needs to be addressed. And if you can get some things to occupy
their minds,
their
minds. And their hands,
and their hands and stuff like that, then that might help. Hopefully, I'm sure it could. So there are a number of things that could be done rather than just letting things go as is and stuff like that. I really don't know. The Most High God will have to, you know, help us to see how those things can happen.
Yes. So, you know, we're going to be talking to your lovely wife soon, because you're married, a father of how many children?
We got 3 kids.
You have 3 children,
Yeah.
Boys, girls?
2 girls and 1 boy.
And 1 boy. And grandchildren?
No, not from. I have other kids, but not in my
In your
immediate family.
Okay. But I'm sure they're
Not
coming.
grandchildren.
I'm sure they're coming. So the thing that so we're going to talk to your wife a little bit later on. Now, here's the thing, just to show people that, you know, you're a family man, and whatever, if she wants to say something, you know, that would be wonderful. You mentioned earlier that the publishing of a book might be in your future. So
Yeah.
you are like just oozing with talent here.
No, well, the thing is, I actually have my outline. I don't want to disclose anything at this point in time.
Right.
But I have a trajectory that is so central to who I am, you know. And sometimes, you know, you believe that you want to do something, but my thing, Trish, is I want to give. That's the bottom line. My wife could choose to stay here, you know, and do stuff.
Right.
But I feel I want to give. And in the absence of anything tangible like plenty money, give myself.
Right.
Okay? What I can do. Sometimes St. Vincent has a unique social climate, just like it has an economical climate,
Right.
just like it has a political climate.
Right.
You know, and so you have to get in there and adjust. But all I want to do, it doesn't matter who, what, where, how, if, I just want to give.
And that's
And
a
if
beautiful way to
if-
promote
if-
yourself, to preserve yourself
Yeah.
as well. That's a way to
If
preserve yourself.
if I want to give, I just want to give. But sometimes you're blocked, and so you have to sort of gauge and watch yourself to know when to do it, with whom to do it, and if to do it. Because you don't want to get discouraged to prevent you from that passion of wanting to give.
Right.
Give what you know. Give to the place that made you. You see, the school made me. They made me a Vincentian. God put me there. And I feel, you know, I am proud to be a Vincentian. There's no
Right.
if, but, some, maybe is about this. You know? And I want to give.
And you mentioned about the fact that you have that background where you worked with using your art for therapy, and we have this crime situation in St. Vincent. Perhaps somebody like you who's retired, who's there, could be called upon to kind of engage some of these youths in that way, you know, to kind of get their head going in a different direction and teach them how to use their hands and things like that. So, you know, these are some of the things. I mean, you're here, you want to give yourself, you want to be able to get things out there. And like I said, the best way to preserve yourself is to teach others. So I think the people in St. Vincent, the culture department, hope somebody from the culture department is listening. here is a treasure, a Vincentian treasure,
Yeah.
who I think would do some great things there in giving back. And I think you're in a good position right now, being back in that retired phase,
Okay.
where you're back there.
Yeah.
You know, let me talk to your lovely wife as we get ready to wrap up this interview.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have Mrs. Scully Hunt with us. What has it been like being married to this gentleman? How many years you guys been married?
36.
30. Wow,
36
that's a
years.
lifetime.
Yeah, last June.
And what has it been like being married to this wonderful gentleman?
Good,
Good.
happy. I mean, we have a little ups and downs.
Everybody.
Married, but I must say thank God for him.
Yes, wonderful. Are you from St. Vincent as well?
Yeah,
We're in St. Vincent.
backyard.
So we're in St. Vincent.
Okay, I was originally born up Tongue Hill.
Mm.
And then I left there when I was like 15, and my mom built a house at Edinburgh.
Mm.
So you say Edinburgh.
Okay, so Edinburgh. Okay.
Top
Edi-
Edinburgh.
Okay. All right. So and you guys have children. And I
Yeah.
was telling him, I'm sure the grandchildren are going to be coming soon.
Well,
So and then
so
you know what?
by
They're going to
God's
send them
grace.
down to you in St. Vincent. You're retired back there as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to send them down to you for the summers in St. Vincent. Let me just prepare
I
you.
love
This
that.
is what's going to happen.
I
okay?
love that. I
Yes,
love
they're
that.
going to be sending those grandkids, and that's the beauty of it, because then you
Yeah.
get to send them back at the end of the summer,
Yeah.
right? So you guys are right now just enjoying your retirement
Yes.
and living back home and coming here visiting the family. Now when it started to get cold, I imagine that
Head
forced
back
frost
out.
bite you, you're going to
Yeah.
run back to St. Vincent.
Of course.
You know, I was just talking to your husband here, and you know he's very humble.
Yeah, he is.
But he's quite an icon out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people. And I was saying, someone like him, we really have to. This is why I did this interview. We really got to pick his brains, and we got to get ways to engage him to preserve himself by passing on his skills to others. Because skills like his, can't afford for that to die off. You know, do you know that you're married to an icon?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just remember to tell him that sometime, because he's so humble.
He
You know.
know that. He know that. But
You know, and you know, I was talking earlier to him, and I was saying they have such a high crime issue in St. Vincent, and he has worked here with youths to use his artistic talent to teach them another way to engage and to kind of vent and see another way to deal with issues rather than just lashing out. So I think somebody like him could be invaluable in St. Vincent. And being retired now, you could actually do a lot there. So I want you to work on him too. And I hope that somebody from culture department is listening to this interview, and they will utilize this wonderful gentleman in that capacity.
I hope so too. Trust me, because he have a lot that he
He has
can
a lot,
give.
and he's
but
oozing with the
He-
desire
I
to
guess
give it.
He's willing to give, but
Yes.
then the people know, they don't want to accept. Some people don't want to accept, and then he's kind of.
He's not going to force himself on anybody. He's saying, listen, I'm here.
Yeah.
I want to help, but I'm not going to push myself on you. I work with the Garifuna program where I teach the culture to children there, to speak it. I published a textbook. We work with children to teach them the drumming and the dancing, the cooking. We even teach them some of the foods that we don't cook in St. Vincent anymore. And I do that every year from 150 to about 175 children. And that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years. To just go there every year, and I wish I could do it on a daily basis.
You
Like
do
when
it
I
at
retire.
different school? Or?
No, I have one school I bust the children in from Kingston, from
Okay.
Sandy Bay,
Okay.
Rose Hall, places
So,
like that.
not
Rosebank.
cutting any. You in St. Vincent's there? You
No, I live here.
Oh, okay.
But I go there once a year, and
Once a
I
year?
have a home
Oh.
there, like you guys. I
Okay.
have a home there,
Okay.
and I can't wait to get out of here to go back to St. Vincent to retire. I can't wait. But right now I have young ones still, and I'm trying to
you
get
have
him
keep them
through and get him to college and things like that. I work with that, and every year I just keep doing it. So once we can get him in doing what he needs to do and what he wants to do, to work with the youths, these are some of the things that's going to help to build our communities. Bring it back to the way it used to be. And St. Vincent, and not just St. Vincent, but we're so in need of that there. I look forward for one day, for instance, when I would have a school and be able to have what I do yearly be a permanent thing there. You know what I mean? Be a permanent thing there. We have some amazing drummers, amazing dancers. The St. Vincent and Grenadines national anthem is sung in both Garifuna and English by the children. A lot of children speak in Garifuna again. And we didn't get grants or any kind of monies like that. We have just raised money and asked different people to help us. And every year, by the grace of God, we've been there. taking that culture to them. So, you know, I hope when I retire that you guys would still be in St. Vincent. Don't come back, you know, to this cold. Just come in a summertime. Do like me. I'm going to be coming in summertime. And that's that. So what parting words do you guys, let me go to the missus first. Ladies first. So what parting words do you want to say? And then I'm going to go to your husband.
Okay, first of all, I would love them to honor him.
Yes.
For all that he did in St. Vincent,
Mm-hmm.
I never see nobody ever, you know, give him an honor ceremony.
Right.
I and my the kids, we pick up on it when we had just came into in 2006, and we had an honor ceremony for him, myself and the kids them here.
Right.
But like for
That's
all
in
the
the
things that he
nation,
did in
yeah.
St. Vincent, you know,
But
nobody
that's-
never really
that's
reached out
not-
to.
Well, you know, Kavusa,
Well, that
associated
happened
with
here.
the diaspora committee, they gave me an award last year.
Well, like, that happened here, but back home.
then St. Vincent, a guy came from Canada, a guy Gould, and he identified a number of guys and give us an award. But I forgot to mention one thing to you. I also work in Barbados and Trinidad, and I painted murals which were 45 feet by 18 feet. And when I did the last one, the guy, the president of the union, wrote me a letter and gave me a standing ovation, and that I outdid myself. I can't do anything any better than that. Look at it. You know, my daughter at the time was studying in Ontario Road, because I was so involved in it. You know, we stitched up 60 yards of canvas, painted this large mural. You know, paid overweight to bring it to
Barbados to
Barbados,
Trinidad.
from Barbados to Trinidad, and you know, and I was still pastoring as a pastor. I had 4 congregations working with all the time, baptizing people and stuff like that. My whole orientation now is slightly being upgraded to, in the religious sense, into something that is much deeper than what and where I was before.
Right.
And it makes me contemplate on the awesomeness of the Almighty God, that I have to give credit to for everything that I am. You know, and I don't want to leave that out. Okay? I say this humbly. I'm not any big thing. My wife knows that. She works close with me. Anytime I have large projects to do, she would assist me. She is my right hand when I come into all these things, you know. And my mind too. Because she said, why you don't do it, why you don't do it? So I have to kind of
Good support.
check myself and say, oh yeah, you know. So in essence is just living. I like life. I like life. I made a lot of blunders, and I apologize to anybody I made a blunder
We all
to,
do.
you know. But I am not perfect. We all make mistakes, you know. But I have no regrets. I have no malice. I have no grudge. I have no desire to be better than anybody. Because the more you know, is the more you realize that you don't know.
Right.
Because you would wonder, how come I didn't know this before? You know. So the whole question is unification. Unification and nation building is my major concern. Nation building. How can we build a nation? Building a nation.
We need you
we
in
have
St.
to-
Vincent with that mindset.
Building a nation means you have to integrate with each other.
Yeah.
We have to pass a hammer, pass a saw, pass a cutlass, not to do any damage, you know, but to build and come together and recognize everybody for their own worth, whether they're high, whether they're low, whether they're red, pink or yellow. It's as simple as that. And that's where my mind is right now. This is why I don't get involved in a lot of stuff, because I see the friction. I see so much friction. I say, no, I can't handle that.
Yeah.
Can't
You're a
handle
humble guy. You don't want to.
that. I don't want to deal with that.
No, I'm looking at you, but you know, before I go to that, I agree with you. Somebody like this should be honored, but as a nation as a whole, not just an organization
us,
here.
yeah.
He definitely should be. And I hope you all are watching from culture. This is an icon.
Yeah.
He needs to be honored. He deserves it. But I'm looking at you both. You look so wonderful and young and slim. And look at you all. Your skin is so beautiful. I mean, I can't wait to go home. This is what St. Vincent do to you.
We haven't been
You
to St.
guys
Vincent
are
one yet.
Let's not hear everybody when they go back there say that they go backwards in age, you know, like instead of being older.
Older,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
get
yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
I could contribute to that.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah.
So it was wonderful having me in your home this evening
You're
and doing this
welcome.
interview with
Yeah,
you
you're
guys.
welcome.
And I hope that we'll follow up with this sometime in the future.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
And
yes.
when you have the grandchildren,
Oh,
we'll go
yeah.
and you have everybody around you on the seat. So what parting words do you have to give us?
Well, gosh, trust the Most High God first and foremost.
Put God first.
Put Him always first. And if you see a situation that is going to be negative, block it before it gets to you. In your mind, block it. On the other hand, do the best that you can. Do whatever you could do. You can't do what you can't. Just do what you could. Okay? And I love you guys. I love my country. I love my people. I love everybody. You know, I have no animosity with anybody, but I still to protect myself because I want to do more. I don't want to get, lick out
Right.
before I make that contribution.
Exactly.
And licking out is not necessarily physical. It could be psychological,
Right.
emotional, and mental. So, yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
It was nice having you, having this conversation, this sit-down conversation with you guys. All right? And I look forward to following up and hear what you guys are up to in St. Vincent.
Yes.
All right?
I can show you some samples of some stuff that I did
Okay.
after this.
Okay.
But,
All right. Thank you.
okay, Trish.
And so we came to the end of this interview with Mr. Scully Hunt, a very humble cultural warrior from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a man who's known for his artistic endeavors, not just in the Caribbean, but worldwide. And really wanted to sit down with him and do this interview because I wanted really for people to know his accomplishments and his contribution to the cultural arena. When I first heard about him, he came to my attention by someone a mutual friend. And I thought his name sounded somewhat familiar, but I wasn't quite sure. It started the interview and I saw his features and I thought something about his features looked very familiar. And as we were ending the interview, I realized that I knew who this gentleman was. And I asked him, I tried to verify, and he said yes. Years ago, when my sister and I started a craft business, he was working at the Craft Association in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and was one of the individuals who was responsible for helping us with marketing. And he didn't expect anything from us. He just really reached out to us and helped us. And here I am years later, not even really realizing who he was and being able to sit across from him and to hear about his, accomplishments and, his plans for the future and, really watch, how he remained very humble and, really down to earth. He just really want to give of himself. So it was really a pleasure for me to do this interview and to really have a chance to really meet him years later and see what he's accomplished.